The Extraordinary You. Unlock your highest potential and transform your life. Written and published by Rising Audiobook. Introduction. Imagine waking up 1 year from today and realizing you've become the person you once dreamed of becoming. More confident, more disciplined, more focused, and finally living with purpose. Now imagine the opposite. Years passing by while your greatest talents remain hidden, your biggest dreams untouched, and your true potential never fully realized. The difference between these two futures isn't luck, talent, or intelligence. It's whether you're willing to unlock the extraordinary person already within you. The truth is, every remarkable achievement begins long before the world notices it. It starts with a decision to believe that you are capable of more than you've accepted, to challenge the limits you've placed on yourself, and to refuse an ordinary life when an extraordinary one is possible. This audiobook is not about becoming someone else. It's about uncovering the strongest, wisest, and most capable version of yourself that has been waiting beneath fear, doubt, distraction, and limiting beliefs. Each chapter is a practical step toward unlocking your highest potential, building unshakable confidence, developing powerful habits, and creating a life filled with purpose, resilience, and lasting fulfillment. By the time you reach the end, you won't just think differently, you'll see yourself differently. Because the extraordinary life you've been searching for isn't somewhere out there. It begins with the extraordinary you, and your journey starts right now. Chapter 1. Discover the extraordinary you. Have you ever looked at someone who has achieved remarkable success and wondered, what do they have that I don't? Perhaps you've admired great leaders, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, or innovators and assumed they were born with something special, something you simply weren't given. It's an easy belief to accept because it explains away the gap between where you are and where they are. But it's also one of the greatest myths ever created. The extraordinary life is not reserved for extraordinary people. It is created by ordinary people who make extraordinary choices, day after day. Every person who has ever changed their life began exactly where you are now, with uncertainty, questions, and untapped potential waiting to be discovered. Potential is one of the most valuable things you possess because it represents everything you are capable of becoming. Unlike talent, which may come naturally to some, potential exists in everyone. It is not determined by your age, your education, your background, or your circumstances. It is the possibility that lives within you, waiting for your decisions, your actions, and your persistence to bring it to life. The challenge is that potential is invisible. You cannot hold it in your hands or measure it with certainty. Because it cannot be seen, many people assume it doesn't exist. They judge themselves by their current results instead of their future possibilities. They define themselves by past failures rather than future growth. Over time, they begin living according to who they have been instead of who they could become. Think about a seed planted beneath the soil. From the surface, nothing appears to be happening. Yet beneath the ground, roots are quietly spreading, preparing for the day the plant breaks through the earth. If someone judged the seed too early, they might believe it would never grow. But growth often happens long before it becomes visible. Human potential works the same way. Much of your greatest transformation begins internally. Before your circumstances change, your thinking changes. Before your achievements increase, your confidence grows. Before others notice your progress, you begin making different choices in private. The invisible work always comes before the visible results. This is why self-awareness is the foundation of every meaningful transformation. Self-awareness means understanding who you are today, while recognizing who you have the ability to become. It requires honesty without self-criticism and confidence without arrogance. When you become aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, your habits, your beliefs, and your values, you gain the power to improve them intentionally rather than living on autopilot. Many people spend years trying to change their lives without first understanding themselves. They chase goals that don't truly matter to them. They compare their journey to everyone else's. They seek approval instead of purpose. In doing so, they drift further away from the person they were meant to become. Discovering the extraordinary you begins by asking better questions. Instead of asking, "Am I good enough?" ask, "What am I capable of learning?" Instead of asking, "Why does success come so easily to others?" ask, "What habits help them get there?" Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What might I become if I refuse to quit?" The quality of your questions shapes the quality of your future. It is equally important to recognize that your identity is not fixed. Too often, people describe themselves using permanent labels. They say, "I'm not confident, I'm not disciplined, I'm not creative, or I'm just an average person." These statements slowly become part of their identity, influencing every decision they make. But these are not permanent truths. They are temporary descriptions of current behavior. Behavior can change, habits can change, mindsets can change, and when those change, your identity begins to change as well. Every extraordinary achievement begins with a simple belief: I can become more than I am today. That belief creates curiosity. Curiosity leads to learning. Learning inspires action. Action builds experience. Experience develops confidence. Confidence fuels even greater action. This positive cycle is how ordinary individuals become extraordinary over time. Remember that becoming extraordinary does not mean becoming perfect. Perfection is impossible, but progress is available every single day. The goal is not to outperform everyone around you. The goal is to become a little stronger, wiser, kinder, and more disciplined than you were yesterday. Small improvements, repeated consistently, eventually create remarkable transformation. As you begin this journey, give yourself permission to let go of the stories that have limited you. Your past does not define your future unless you allow it to. Your current circumstances do not determine your final destination. What matters most is the decision you make today, to believe that there is more within you than you have expressed so far. The extraordinary version of yourself is not someone you must search for in distant places. It already exists within you, waiting to be awakened through intentional choices, courageous actions, and unwavering commitment. This audiobook is your invitation to begin that awakening. Your highest potential is not a dream reserved for the fortunate few. It is a possibility waiting for you to claim it. And every extraordinary life begins with one extraordinary decision: the decision to discover who you are truly capable of becoming. Chapter 2. Eliminate the barriers holding you back. If every person is born with extraordinary potential, why do so many people never reach it? The answer is rarely a lack of intelligence, talent, or opportunity. More often, the greatest obstacles are invisible. They exist within the mind, quietly influencing decisions, shaping behaviors, and limiting possibilities. Before you can unlock your highest potential, you must first remove the barriers that have been standing between you and the life you want to create. One of the most powerful barriers is limiting beliefs. These are the silent stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you can achieve. They sound convincing because they are repeated so often. I'm not smart enough. I'm too old. I'm too young. Success is for other people. I've failed too many times. At first, these thoughts seem harmless, but over time, they become mental walls that keep you trapped within a smaller version of your life. The danger of limiting beliefs is that they become self-fulfilling. When you believe something is impossible, you stop trying. When you stop trying, you never discover what you are truly capable of. It isn't reality that limits you, it is the belief you've accepted as reality. A powerful example of this comes from Roger Bannister. For years, athletes believed running a mile in under 4 minutes was physically impossible. Experts declared that the human body simply could not do it. Then, in 1954, Bannister broke the 4-minute barrier. Suddenly, what had been considered impossible became achievable. Within a short time, many other runners accomplished the same feat. The human body had not changed overnight. What changed was the belief about what was possible. The same principle applies to your own life. Many of the limits you experience are not physical, they are psychological. They exist because you have unknowingly accepted them as permanent truths. The moment you challenge those beliefs, new possibilities begin to appear. Fear is another invisible barrier that quietly controls countless lives. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of criticism, fear of uncertainty. These fears often convince people to remain where they are because staying familiar feels safer than risking disappointment. Yet fear is rarely an accurate predictor of reality. More often, it is the imagination exaggerating problems that may never happen. It paints worst-case scenarios while ignoring the opportunities that courage can create. Every meaningful achievement requires stepping into uncertainty. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it is the willingness to move forward despite it. Closely connected to fear is self-doubt. Unlike fear, which focuses on external outcomes, self-doubt questions your own ability. It whispers that you are not capable enough, experienced enough, or deserving enough. Left unchecked, self-doubt becomes an invisible handbrake that prevents you from pursuing opportunities that could change your life. The truth is that every successful person has experienced self-doubt. The difference is that they refused to let it make their decisions. They acted before they felt completely ready. They understood that confidence is built through action, not before it. Another major barrier is negative habits. Your life today is largely the result of what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally intend to do. Small habits may seem insignificant in the moment, but over months and years, they shape your identity and determine your future. Procrastination, constant distraction, negative thinking, unhealthy routines, and wasting valuable time slowly pull you away from your highest potential. The encouraging news is that habits can be replaced. Every unhealthy habit leaves room for a healthier one. Every negative routine can be exchanged for a positive ritual. Lasting transformation does not require changing everything overnight. It begins by improving one small behavior at a time until those behaviors become part of who you are. Excuses are perhaps the most dangerous barrier because they feel reasonable. They allow you to remain comfortable while convincing yourself that change can wait. I'll start next month. I don't have enough time. I'm waiting for the right opportunity. Things will improve when life becomes easier. These excuses provide temporary comfort but create permanent regret. Life rarely becomes easier before you take action. More often, action makes life easier. Waiting for perfect conditions usually means waiting forever. The people who transform their lives are not those who have perfect circumstances. They are those who decide that imperfect action is better than endless hesitation. Removing barriers also requires taking responsibility for your future. Responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything that has happened. It means recognizing that while you cannot control every circumstance, you can always choose your response. This shift in perspective is incredibly empowering because it places your future back into your own hands. As you continue this journey, begin paying attention to the thoughts that repeat in your mind. Notice the excuses you make, the fears that hold you back, and the habits that quietly shape your days. Ask yourself whether they are helping you become the extraordinary person you are capable of becoming, or keeping you trapped in the life you've already outgrown. Every barrier you overcome creates space for new growth. Every limiting belief you replace with confidence opens new possibilities. Every fear you face becomes smaller. Every positive habit you build strengthens your future. Every excuse you eliminate brings you one step closer to the life you truly want. The extraordinary version of yourself has never been absent. It has simply been hidden beneath years of doubt, fear, limiting beliefs, and comfortable routines. Remove those barriers one by one, and you'll discover that your greatest obstacle was never a lack of potential. It was believing that your potential had limits. Once you let go of that belief, you begin to realize something extraordinary. The path to your highest potential has been waiting for you all along. Chapter 3. Rewire your mind for success. Every great transformation begins with a change in thinking. Before your habits improve, your mindset must improve. Before your actions become consistent, your beliefs must become stronger. Before your life changes on the outside, something must change on the inside. This is why rewiring your mind is one of the most powerful steps toward unlocking your highest potential. Your mind is like the operating system of your life. Every decision you make, every opportunity you pursue, every challenge you overcome, and every dream you chase is influenced by the thoughts running beneath the surface. If those thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, your actions will reflect them. But if your thoughts are rooted in confidence, possibility, and resilience, your behavior begins to change as well. Many people believe success starts with action. While action is essential, it is often the result of the thoughts that come before it. Imagine trying to build a strong house on a weak foundation. No matter how beautiful the structure looks, it will eventually collapse. In the same way, lasting success cannot be built on a mindset filled with self-doubt and limiting beliefs. The foundation must be strengthened first. One of the most important mindset shifts you can make is moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. A fixed mindset believes that intelligence, talent, and ability are permanent. It says, "I'm either good at this or I'm not." It avoids challenges because failure feels like proof of inadequacy. It fears criticism and often gives up when progress becomes difficult. A growth mindset sees life differently. It believes that skills can be developed, knowledge can be gained, and abilities can improve through learning, effort, and persistence. Challenges become opportunities instead of threats. Mistakes become lessons instead of failures. Success becomes a journey rather than a destination. Think about a child learning to walk. That child falls hundreds of times, yet never concludes, "Walking isn't for me." Every fall is simply part of the learning process. Somewhere along the way, many adults lose this natural attitude. We begin expecting immediate success, and when it doesn't happen, we question our abilities instead of improving our methods. Returning to a growth mindset means giving yourself permission to learn without judging yourself for being a beginner. Another powerful way to rewire your mind is by becoming aware of your internal dialogue. Throughout the day, you are constantly talking to yourself. Most people don't even notice it. These quiet conversations shape emotions, influence decisions, and determine how challenges are interpreted. Imagine facing a difficult opportunity such as giving a presentation or starting a business. One inner voice might say, "You're going to fail. People will judge you. You're not ready." Another voice might say, "This is challenging, but it's an opportunity to grow. Every expert was once a beginner. I'll learn something valuable regardless of the outcome." The situation hasn't changed, but your mindset has, and that mindset determines whether you move forward or stay where you are. This doesn't mean pretending problems don't exist. Positive thinking is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing an empowering response to reality. Optimistic people still face setbacks, disappointments, and obstacles. The difference is that they refuse to let temporary circumstances define their future. They believe solutions exist even when they haven't found them yet. Visualization is another powerful mental tool used by high achievers across many fields. Before athletes compete, many mentally rehearse every movement. Before speakers step onto a stage, they imagine delivering their message with confidence. Entrepreneurs visualize successful outcomes before launching new ideas. Visualization prepares the mind to recognize opportunities and reduces the fear of unfamiliar situations. Spend a few minutes each day imagining the person you are becoming. Picture yourself speaking confidently, making wise decisions, handling challenges with calmness, and achieving meaningful goals. Engage your imagination as vividly as possible. While visualization alone won't create success, it strengthens belief, sharpens focus, and prepares your mind for action. Equally important is the information you feed your mind. Just as your body reflects the food you eat, your mind reflects the ideas you consume. If your daily environment is filled with negativity, complaints, distractions, and discouragement, maintaining a positive mindset becomes difficult. On the other hand, surrounding yourself with inspiring books, thoughtful conversations, educational content, and encouraging people gradually reshapes your thinking. Ask yourself a simple question. What is influencing my mind every day? The answer may explain why you feel motivated or discouraged, hopeful or doubtful, focused or distracted. Protecting your mental environment is not selfish, it is essential. Every thought you repeatedly entertain eventually influences your beliefs, and every belief influences your behavior. Gratitude is another habit that quietly rewires the brain. It shifts your attention from what is missing to what is already present. This doesn't mean becoming satisfied with mediocrity or abandoning ambition. Instead, gratitude creates emotional stability while you continue striving for greater achievements. A grateful mind sees possibilities more clearly because it is not consumed by constant dissatisfaction. Patience also plays an important role in mental transformation. Many people become discouraged because they expect immediate results. They work on themselves for a few days or weeks and wonder why nothing significant has changed. But the mind develops just like a muscle. It becomes stronger through repetition. Every positive thought, every encouraging affirmation, every courageous action, and every healthy habit strengthens new mental pathways. Over time, these repeated choices become your new normal. Remember that you cannot always control the thoughts that first enter your mind, but you can choose which ones remain. A negative thought may appear unexpectedly, but you don't have to believe it. You can question it, replace it, and refuse to let it guide your decisions. This simple practice gradually shifts your mental habits from limitation to possibility. As you continue your journey, understand that success is not merely something you achieve, it is someone you become. Every day you are shaping your identity through the thoughts you accept, the beliefs you strengthen, and the actions you repeat. When you rewire your mind, you don't just improve your thinking, you transform the direction of your entire life. The extraordinary you is not created by chance. It is created one thought, one belief, one decision, and one action at a time. Change your mind, and you begin to change your future. Strengthen your beliefs, and your actions become stronger. Continue this process every day, and you'll discover that the greatest transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens one powerful thought at a time. Chapter 4. Define your vision and purpose. Imagine setting sail across a vast ocean without a destination. You may have a strong ship, favorable winds, and enough supplies to last for months, but without a clear direction, you'll simply drift wherever the current takes you. Many people live their lives the same way. They work hard, stay busy, and keep moving, yet they never stop to ask themselves a simple question: where am I actually going? Effort without direction leads to exhaustion, not fulfillment. This is why defining your vision and purpose is one of the most important steps toward unlocking your highest potential. A clear vision gives your life direction, while a meaningful purpose gives you the reason to keep moving forward, especially when life becomes difficult. Your vision is the picture of the future you want to create. It is not simply a list of goals or achievements. It is a vivid image of the person you want to become and the life you want to live. It answers questions such as, what kind of character do I want to develop? What impact do I want to have? What values do I want my life to reflect? Purpose, on the other hand, is the deeper reason behind that vision. It is the why that fuels your determination. Goals may motivate you for a short time, but purpose gives you the strength to continue when motivation fades. A person with purpose does not stop because progress is slow. They continue because they understand that every step brings them closer to something meaningful. Many people mistakenly believe they must discover one perfect purpose before taking action. They spend years waiting for a dramatic moment of clarity. But purpose is rarely discovered all at once. More often, it is revealed gradually through curiosity, learning, experience, and service. You discover your purpose by moving forward, not by standing still. Consider the story of J.K. Rowling. Before becoming one of the world's most celebrated authors, she faced rejection after rejection. She struggled financially, experienced personal hardships, and was told repeatedly that her manuscript would never succeed. It would have been easy to abandon her dream. Yet she continued writing because she believed in the story she wanted to tell. Her vision was stronger than her temporary circumstances. Her purpose gave her the resilience to keep going when success seemed impossible. The world remembers her achievements, but those achievements began with a clear vision and an unwavering commitment to it. Your own vision doesn't have to change millions of lives to be meaningful. It might be building a loving family, creating a successful business, becoming a trusted leader, improving your health, mastering a skill, or contributing to your community. What matters is not how impressive your vision appears to others. What matters is whether it inspires you to become a better version of yourself. One reason people lose direction is because they spend too much time comparing themselves with others. Social media and modern culture constantly encourage comparison. You see someone else's achievements and begin questioning your own progress. You measure your beginning against someone else's middle or end. As a result, you start chasing goals that don't truly belong to you. Comparison is dangerous because it distracts you from your own path. Every person has a different background, different opportunities, different challenges, and a different timeline. Your journey was never meant to look exactly like someone else's. Instead of asking, "Why am I not where they are?" ask, "Am I moving closer to the person I want to become?" That question keeps your attention where it belongs. Once you have a vision, it must be translated into daily action. A dream without action remains only a wish. Large goals can often feel overwhelming, causing people to procrastinate or give up entirely. The solution is to break your vision into smaller, manageable steps. If your vision is to become healthier, begin by improving one daily habit. If your vision is to write a book, commit to writing a few hundred words each day. If your vision is to build a successful career, focus on learning one valuable skill at a time. Small actions may seem insignificant, but they create momentum. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence encourages greater action. Eventually, the distance between where you are and where you want to be begins to shrink. It is also important to ensure that your vision aligns with your values. Values are the principles that guide your decisions and define the kind of person you want to become. Success achieved at the expense of your integrity, health, or relationships is rarely fulfilling. True success is about creating harmony between your ambitions and your character. When your goals reflect your deepest values, your life gains a sense of peace and authenticity that external achievements alone cannot provide. Your vision will also evolve over time. The person you are today is not the person you will be 5 or 10 years from now. As you grow, your understanding of success, happiness, and purpose may deepen. This is not a sign that you were wrong before. It is evidence that you are growing. Remain flexible enough to adjust your vision while staying committed to your core values. There will be days when your progress feels slow and your destination seems distant. During those moments, remember why you started. Reconnect with the purpose behind your vision. Purpose has a remarkable ability to restore strength when enthusiasm fades. It reminds you that your efforts are building something greater than today's results. Ultimately, your vision is more than a destination. It is a compass. It guides your choices, shapes your priorities, and influences the person you become every single day. A clear vision helps you say yes to what truly matters and no to the distractions that pull you away from your potential. The extraordinary life you seek will never happen by accident. It begins with seeing beyond your current circumstances and believing in the future you are capable of creating. When your vision is clear, your purpose is strong, and your actions are consistent, you stop drifting through life and start leading it with intention. And that is when your highest potential begins to unfold. Chapter 5. Build the habits of extraordinary people. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to make success look effortless? From the outside, it appears as though they possess extraordinary talent, endless motivation, or exceptional luck. But if you look closely, you'll discover a different story. Behind every remarkable achievement is a collection of ordinary habits repeated with extraordinary consistency. The truth is that your life is not shaped by the occasional big decision you make. It is shaped by the small decisions you make every single day. Success is rarely the result of one dramatic breakthrough. More often, it is the outcome of hundreds of small actions that quietly compound over time. This is why habits are so powerful. They determine the direction of your life long before you notice the results. Imagine two people beginning at the same starting point. One chooses to read 10 pages of a meaningful book each day, exercise for 30 minutes, and spend a few minutes planning tomorrow before going to bed. The other spends those same moments scrolling through social media, postponing important tasks, and telling themselves they will start tomorrow. For a week, the difference between them may seem insignificant. Even after a month, the results might appear almost identical, but after several years, their lives could look completely different. This is the power of compounding. Just as small investments grow into significant wealth over time, small positive habits grow into extraordinary lives. Every healthy choice strengthens your future. Every productive routine moves you one step closer to your highest potential. Author James Clear popularized the idea of improving by just 1% every day. At first glance, 1% seems almost meaningless. Most people overlook small improvements because they want dramatic change. But when tiny improvements are repeated consistently, they accumulate into remarkable transformation. Becoming just a little better each day may not seem exciting, but over time, those small gains separate average lives from extraordinary ones. The challenge is that habits often operate below the level of conscious awareness. Much of what you do each day happens automatically. You wake up at a certain time, check your phone, prepare for work, eat meals, respond to stress, and spend your evenings following familiar routines. Because these behaviors become automatic, you rarely question whether they are helping or hurting your future. The first step toward building extraordinary habits is becoming aware of your current ones. Ask yourself, does this habit move me closer to the person I want to become or further away? Every habit is casting a vote for the type of person you are becoming. Even the smallest choices matter because they reinforce your identity. This brings us to one of the most powerful ideas about lasting change. Focus on identity before outcomes. Many people say, I want to run a marathon, or I want to write a book. These are good goals, but they focus on results. Extraordinary people ask a different question. What kind of person achieves these results? Instead of trying to write a book, they become a writer. Instead of trying to exercise occasionally, they become someone who values health. Instead of trying to be disciplined, they become a disciplined person. When your identity changes, your habits naturally begin to align with it. Every positive habit becomes evidence that reinforces your new identity. Every workout confirms that you are someone who takes care of your body. Every chapter you read confirms that you are a lifelong learner. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your belief that you are reliable and capable. Another important principle is to make good habits easy to begin. One of the biggest reasons people abandon positive routines is that they try to change everything at once. They create unrealistic schedules, set impossible expectations, and quickly become overwhelmed. Lasting transformation is built differently. It begins with small, manageable actions that are easy to repeat. If your goal is to read more, start with 10 minutes a day rather than an entire book each week. If you want to exercise consistently, begin with a short daily workout instead of demanding perfection from yourself. If you want to meditate, start with 5 quiet minutes rather than expecting immediate mastery. Small actions reduce resistance and make consistency possible. Equally important is removing the obstacles that encourage negative habits. Your environment influences your behavior more than you might realize. If distractions are always within reach, staying focused becomes difficult. If unhealthy choices are constantly available, resisting temptation requires enormous willpower. Instead of relying solely on self-control, design your environment to support your goals. Place books where you can easily see them. Prepare healthy meals in advance. Keep your workspace organized. Reduce unnecessary distractions. Make success easier than failure. Remember that habits are not built through perfection. They are built through repetition. There will be days when you miss a workout, skip your reading session, or fall back into old routines. Don't allow one mistake to become two. One missed day is a pause. Repeated neglect becomes a pattern. Extraordinary people recover quickly because they understand that consistency is measured over months and years, not by a single imperfect day. Patience is essential throughout this process. We naturally want immediate results, but habits often produce delayed rewards. You may exercise for weeks before seeing visible physical changes. You may study for months before noticing significant career opportunities. You may practice communication skills for a long time before others recognize your confidence. Trust the process even when the results are not yet visible. Every positive habit is creating invisible progress beneath the surface. As your habits improve, something remarkable begins to happen. Your confidence grows, not because someone praises you, but because you trust yourself. You know that you follow through on your commitments. You become someone who keeps promises, even when no one is watching. This quiet confidence is one of the greatest rewards of disciplined habits. Eventually, your habits no longer feel like something you force yourself to do. They become part of who you are. Waking up early, learning continuously, taking care of your health, managing your time wisely, and acting with discipline become your new normal. The extraordinary life you once admired in others begins to emerge naturally in your own. Never underestimate the power of a single positive habit. Today's small decision can become tomorrow's defining characteristic. One page read each day can become a lifetime of wisdom. One workout can become a healthier future. One courageous conversation can strengthen relationships. One disciplined morning can change the direction of an entire day. The extraordinary you is not built through occasional moments of inspiration. It is built through daily habits that quietly shape your character, strengthen your mindset, and move you steadily toward your highest potential. Choose your habits carefully, because they are creating the person you will become. And when those habits align with your vision, transformation is no longer a distant dream. It becomes your daily reality. Chapter 6. Master self-discipline and consistency. Motivation is exciting. It fills you with energy, sparks new ideas, and convinces you that this time everything will be different. You watch an inspiring video, read a powerful book, attend a seminar, or set an ambitious goal. In those moments, change feels effortless. You promise yourself that you'll wake up earlier, exercise every day, eat healthier, work harder, and finally become the person you've always wanted to be. Then reality arrives. The alarm rings before sunrise, and your bed feels more comfortable than your dreams. A difficult project demands your attention, but scrolling through your phone seems easier. The excitement that once fueled your ambition begins to fade, and suddenly the habits you were determined to build become difficult to maintain. This is where most people give up. They mistake the disappearance of motivation for the end of their journey. But extraordinary people understand something that average people often overlook. Motivation may get you started, but discipline keeps you moving. Self-discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It is choosing long-term rewards over short-term comfort. It is making decisions based on your values instead of your emotions. While motivation depends on how you feel, discipline depends on what you have decided. The greatest achievements in history were not built by people who felt motivated every day. They were built by individuals who continued showing up long after the excitement disappeared. They understood that success belongs to those who remain committed after everyone else has lost interest. A remarkable example of this principle is David Goggins. Before becoming known as one of the toughest endurance athletes in the world, Goggins faced enormous personal struggles. He battled obesity, insecurity, financial hardship, and self-doubt. His transformation did not happen because he suddenly became motivated. It happened because he made a decision to stop negotiating with his excuses. Day after day, he chose discipline over comfort. He trained when he was tired. He continued when others would have quit. Over time, those daily choices completely transformed his identity. His story reminds us that extraordinary results are often the product of ordinary actions performed with relentless consistency. Discipline begins with understanding that your feelings are temporary. Some mornings you will feel energetic. Other days you will feel exhausted. Some days you'll believe in yourself completely, while on others you'll question everything. If your actions depend entirely on your emotions, your progress will always be unpredictable. Imagine a pilot flying an airplane across the ocean. The pilot doesn't abandon the flight simply because the weather changes. Instead, they continue following the flight plan while making necessary adjustments along the way. Your goals deserve the same commitment. Temporary emotional storms should never determine the direction of your life. One of the biggest enemies of discipline is procrastination. Procrastination rarely announces itself as laziness. Instead, it disguises itself as reasonable delay. I'll start tomorrow. I need to do more research first. I'm waiting for the perfect opportunity. I'll begin when I have more time. These thoughts feel harmless, but tomorrow has a way of becoming next week, next month, or even next year. The truth is that perfect conditions rarely exist. Waiting until everything feels right often means waiting forever. Progress belongs to those who are willing to begin before they feel completely ready. Action creates clarity. Experience creates confidence. Momentum creates motivation. The sooner you begin, the sooner your future begins to change. Another secret to developing discipline is reducing the number of decisions you have to make. Every decision requires mental energy. If you decide each morning whether or not to exercise, you'll eventually talk yourself out of it. If you decide every evening whether or not to work on your goals, emotions may win the argument. Successful people remove unnecessary choices by creating systems. They schedule their workouts at the same time every day. They dedicate specific hours to focused work. They prepare healthy meals in advance. They create routines that make positive behavior automatic. Systems reduce dependence on willpower because the decision has already been made. This is why routines are so powerful. They transform discipline from an occasional effort into a consistent lifestyle. At first, routines require conscious effort. Over time, they become habits that require less mental resistance. Eventually, the behaviors that once felt difficult begin to feel natural. Discipline also requires learning how to manage distractions. We live in a world designed to steal our attention. Notifications, endless entertainment, social media, and constant interruptions compete for every moment of focus. Left unchecked, these distractions quietly consume hours that could have been invested in your growth. Protecting your attention is one of the highest forms of self-discipline. Create periods of uninterrupted focus. Silence unnecessary notifications. Keep your workspace organized. Give your most important goals your best energy rather than your leftover attention. Every moment of focused effort strengthens your ability to concentrate in the future. It is equally important to remember that discipline is not about punishment. Many people associate discipline with harsh self-criticism and endless sacrifice. In reality, discipline is an act of self-respect. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your confidence. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you demonstrate that your future matters more than your temporary feelings. There will still be setbacks. You will miss workouts. You will waste time. You will occasionally fall back into old habits. This is part of being human. The difference between extraordinary people and everyone else is not that they never fail. It is that they recover quickly. They refuse to let one mistake become an excuse to abandon the entire journey. Think of discipline like steering a ship across the ocean. Small adjustments are constantly required. Wind changes, waves appear, conditions become unpredictable, but the captain continues correcting the course rather than giving up on the destination. Your personal growth works the same way. You don't need perfection. You simply need the willingness to return to the path every time you drift away from it. Another important lesson is to celebrate consistency instead of intensity. Many people become excited and work tirelessly for a few days, only to burn out shortly afterward. Extraordinary transformation is not built through occasional bursts of extreme effort. It is built through sustainable progress, repeated over months and years. A person who studies for 1 focused hour every day will often outperform someone who studies 10 hours only once a week. Someone who exercises consistently for 30 minutes each day will usually achieve more than someone who trains intensely for a week and then quits. Small repeated actions always outperform inconsistent enthusiasm. As discipline becomes part of your character, something remarkable happens. You begin trusting yourself. You no longer wonder whether you'll follow through because you've developed a history of keeping your commitments. This self-trust becomes one of your greatest sources of confidence. It gives you the courage to pursue bigger goals because you know you can rely on yourself. Ultimately, discipline is not about forcing yourself to live a difficult life. It is about choosing which difficulties you are willing to face. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret can last a lifetime. Every day you delay your growth, you postpone the life you are capable of living. Every day you choose discipline, you invest in a future version of yourself who will look back with gratitude. Remember, extraordinary people are not extraordinary because they possess unlimited talent or endless motivation. They become extraordinary because they consistently do what others are unwilling to do. They honor their commitments when no one is watching. They continue when progress feels slow. They remain faithful to their vision long after the excitement fades. Your highest potential is not unlocked through occasional inspiration. It is unlocked through disciplined action, repeated again and again until excellence becomes your identity. Every promise you keep, every distraction you overcome, every excuse you refuse, and every consistent step you take is shaping the extraordinary person you are becoming. The future you dream about is built by the discipline you practice today. So don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Start where you are, stay consistent, and trust that every disciplined choice is bringing you closer to the extraordinary life you were meant to live. Chapter 7. Step beyond your comfort zone. Every extraordinary life begins with an uncomfortable decision. It is the decision to speak when remaining silent feels safer, to begin when waiting feels easier, to try when failure seems possible, to leave behind the familiar in exchange for the unknown. While comfort promises security, growth asks for courage. And every person who has ever unlocked their highest potential has faced this same choice. Your comfort zone is not a bad place. It is where you feel safe, confident, and in control. The routines are familiar, the risks are limited, and the outcomes are predictable. There is nothing inherently wrong with comfort. The problem arises when comfort becomes a permanent destination instead of a temporary resting place. Imagine planting a tree in a small pot. At first, the pot provides everything the tree needs. But as the tree grows, its roots begin pressing against the sides. Eventually, the very container that once protected it becomes the thing that limits its growth. Unless the tree is moved into a larger space, it can never reach its full height. Your comfort zone works the same way. The habits, beliefs, and routines that once served you may eventually become barriers to your next level of growth. If you remain where everything feels easy, your potential remains confined within the limits of what is familiar. One of the biggest reasons people avoid leaving their comfort zone is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment, fear of making the wrong decision. These fears often feel overwhelming because the human brain is naturally wired to protect you from uncertainty. Thousands of years ago, avoiding the unknown increased the chances of survival. Today, however, that same instinct often prevents us from pursuing opportunities that could transform our lives. The important thing to understand is that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to act even while fear is present. Every successful person has experienced uncertainty before taking a major step. The difference is that they refuse to let fear make the final decision. Think back to a time when you learned a new skill. Perhaps it was riding a bicycle, learning to drive, speaking in public, or starting a new job. In the beginning, Everything felt awkward. Mistakes were inevitable. Confidence was low. But with practice, what once felt impossible gradually became natural. What changed? The challenge didn't disappear. You simply expanded your comfort zone. Growth always follows the same pattern. What feels uncomfortable today can become effortless tomorrow if you practice consistently. This is why you should never interpret discomfort as a sign that you're on the wrong path. More often, it is evidence that you are stretching beyond your previous limits. Unfortunately, many people spend years avoiding discomfort because they confuse temporary discomfort with permanent danger. They stay in jobs they no longer enjoy because change feels risky. They avoid difficult conversations because conflict feels uncomfortable. They postpone pursuing dreams because uncertainty feels overwhelming. In doing so, they exchange the temporary discomfort of growth for the long-term discomfort of regret. Regret has a unique way of following those who continually choose safety over possibility. Years later, people rarely regret the challenges they embraced. They regret the opportunities they ignored, the risks they never took, and the dreams they never pursued. The greatest risk in life is often not failing. It is never discovering what you are truly capable of achieving. One practical way to expand your comfort zone is through gradual exposure. You do not have to transform your life overnight. In fact, dramatic changes are often difficult to sustain. Instead, focus on taking small, courageous steps every day. If public speaking frightens you, begin by sharing your thoughts in small groups. If networking feels intimidating, start one conversation at a time. If launching a business seems overwhelming, begin by learning one new skill or serving your first customer. Each small act of courage sends a powerful message to your mind. I am capable of more than I believed. Over time, these repeated experiences reshape your confidence. What once caused anxiety eventually becomes routine. Another important lesson is learning to become comfortable with failure. Society often teaches us that failure is something to avoid at all costs. Yet every master was once a beginner, and every expert has made countless mistakes. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is one of its greatest teachers. When you fail, you receive valuable information. You discover what works, what doesn't, and what needs improvement. Every setback contains a lesson that can make your next attempt stronger. If you view failure as evidence of growth rather than proof of inadequacy, it loses much of its power over you. Your environment also plays a significant role in determining whether you remain comfortable or continue growing. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to become better. Spend time with individuals who encourage learning, celebrate progress, and inspire action. Growth is contagious. So is complacency. Choose carefully which environment you allow to shape your future. As you continue expanding your comfort zone, you'll notice something remarkable. Your confidence will no longer depend on everything going according to plan. Instead, it will come from knowing that you can adapt, learn, and overcome whatever challenges arise. This is true confidence, not believing that life will always be easy, but trusting that you can handle whatever life brings. Remember that every extraordinary achievement once existed outside someone's comfort zone. The first speech, the first business, the first book, the first difficult conversation, the first bold decision, all required someone to step into uncertainty before they felt completely prepared. If they had waited until fear disappeared, those achievements might never have happened. Ask yourself an honest question. What opportunity have you been postponing because it feels uncomfortable? What dream have you placed on hold while waiting for confidence to arrive? What conversation have you avoided because it feels difficult? The answer to those questions may reveal the very doorway leading to your next level of growth. The extraordinary version of yourself is not waiting inside your comfort zone. It exists just beyond it, where courage replaces hesitation, learning replaces fear, and possibility replaces limitation. Every step you take into the unknown expands not only your abilities, but also your belief in what is possible. Your comfort zone may offer temporary security, but it can never offer extraordinary growth. The life you truly want begins the moment you choose courage over comfort. Take that step today, and you'll discover that the limits you feared were never barriers at all. They were simply invitations to become more than you ever imagined possible. Chapter 8. Unlock peak performance every day. Reaching your highest potential is not about performing at your best once in a while. It is about learning how to perform well consistently. Extraordinary people do not rely on occasional moments of brilliance. They build lifestyles that allow them to bring their best energy, focus and effort to what matters most every single day. Peak performance is often misunderstood. Many people imagine it as working longer hours, sleeping less, pushing harder, and constantly staying busy. But true peak performance is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters with greater clarity, intention, and excellence. It is the ability to consistently produce your best work without sacrificing your health, relationships, or peace of mind. Think of the world's greatest athletes. They do not train at maximum intensity every hour of every day. They understand that high performance requires preparation, recovery, focus, and balance. They know when to push forward and when to rest. The same principle applies to every area of life. Whether you're building a business, pursuing a career, studying for an exam, or raising a family, sustainable excellence comes from managing yourself wisely. The foundation of peak performance is energy. Most people focus on managing their time, but time is only valuable if you have the energy to use it well. Two people may have the same 24 hours in a day, yet one accomplishes meaningful work while the other struggles to stay productive. The difference is often not time. It is physical, mental, and emotional energy. Taking care of your body is one of the greatest investments you can make in your future. Regular exercise strengthens not only your muscles but also your mind. Nutritious food fuels clear thinking. Quality sleep restores creativity, improves decision-making, and enhances emotional resilience. Unfortunately, many people sacrifice these essentials in pursuit of success, only to discover that poor health eventually limits everything else they hope to achieve. Remember, your body is the vehicle that carries your dreams. If you neglect it, every goal becomes harder to reach. Treat your physical well-being as a non-negotiable foundation rather than an optional luxury. Alongside physical energy comes mental focus. We live in an age where distractions are everywhere. Every notification, message, email, and social media update competes for your attention. While technology has created incredible opportunities, it has also made focused thinking increasingly rare. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Wherever your attention goes, your life follows. If your focus is constantly divided, your progress will be divided as well. Extraordinary performers understand this. They create environments where deep, uninterrupted work is possible. One effective strategy is to identify the most important task of the day and give it your best energy before allowing distractions to take over. The first few hours of your day often determine the quality of the entire day. Protect those hours carefully. Avoid beginning each morning by reacting to everyone else's priorities. Instead, invest your best thinking in the work that moves your own life forward. Another important habit is learning the difference between being busy and being productive. Busyness creates the illusion of progress. You answer emails, attend meetings, complete small tasks, and stay constantly occupied. Yet at the end of the day, you may realize that nothing truly important was accomplished. Productivity, on the other hand, is measured by meaningful results. It asks a simple question: did today's actions move me closer to my long-term vision? If the answer is yes, then you have used your time wisely. If not, it may be time to rethink how you spend your attention. Peak performance also requires emotional resilience. Every day brings unexpected challenges. Plans change, people disappoint you, mistakes happen. If every setback completely disrupts your focus, maintaining high performance becomes nearly impossible. Emotionally resilient people do not avoid difficulties. They respond to them with perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What can this situation teach me?" Instead of reacting impulsively, they pause, reflect, and choose thoughtful responses. This emotional stability allows them to remain effective, even under pressure. Decision-making is another area where peak performers distinguish themselves. Every decision, whether large or small, shapes the direction of your life. While some choices have immediate consequences, many of the most important decisions reveal their impact only over time. High performers avoid making important decisions based solely on temporary emotions. They rely on principles, values, and long-term thinking. Before making significant choices, they ask themselves, will this decision move me closer to the person I want to become? This question acts as a compass, helping them remain aligned with their highest priorities. Recovery is another often overlooked aspect of sustained excellence. Many people believe resting is a sign of weakness or laziness. In reality, recovery is part of the performance process. Without proper rest, focus declines, creativity suffers, and decision-making becomes weaker. Even machines require maintenance to operate efficiently. Human beings are no different. Make time to disconnect from constant stimulation. Spend time in nature. Read for enjoyment. Reflect through journaling. Practice mindfulness or quiet meditation. Engage in meaningful conversations with people you care about. These moments of recovery restore your mental clarity and prepare you for the next challenge. Equally important is developing the habit of continuous improvement. Peak performers never assume they have finished growing. They remain curious. They seek feedback. They study new ideas. They willingly adapt when better methods become available. Their confidence comes not from believing they know everything, but from knowing they are always willing to learn. At the end of each day, take a few moments to reflect. Ask yourself, what went well today? What could I improve tomorrow? What lesson did today teach me? These simple questions create awareness and ensure that each day contributes to your growth rather than simply passing by. One of the greatest misconceptions about extraordinary people is that they are extraordinary every moment of every day. The truth is far more encouraging. They experience fatigue, setbacks, distractions, and discouragement, just like everyone else. What separates them is their ability to return to their best habits quickly. They don't expect perfection, they expect progress. Over weeks, months, and years, this commitment to consistent improvement produces remarkable results. Small gains accumulate, skills become stronger, confidence grows, opportunities expand. The person you become through this daily process is far more valuable than any single achievement you accomplish. Ultimately, peak performance is not about proving your worth to the world. It is about honoring the gifts, abilities, and opportunities you have been given. It is choosing to show up fully, not because someone is watching, but because you know what is possible when you give your best. Every sunrise offers a new opportunity to move closer to your highest potential. Some days your progress will feel dramatic. Other days it will seem almost invisible. Both kinds of days matter. Every focused hour, every healthy decision, every disciplined action, and every thoughtful choice is shaping the extraordinary life you are building. The extraordinary you is not revealed through occasional moments of greatness. It is revealed through consistent excellence, practiced every day. Master your energy, protect your focus, strengthen your resilience, continue learning, honor your recovery, and above all, keep showing up. Because peak performance is not a destination you arrive at, it is a way of living that transforms every area of your life. Chapter 9. Build relationships that fuel your growth. No one reaches their highest potential alone. It is easy to admire successful people and assume they achieved everything through individual determination. While discipline, hard work, and resilience are essential, every extraordinary person has been shaped by relationships. Behind every great achievement are teachers who shared wisdom, mentors who offered guidance, friends who provided encouragement, colleagues who inspired growth, and family members who believed when success was still uncertain. The people you spend the most time with quietly influence the person you become. They shape your thinking, affect your confidence, influence your habits, and often determine what you believe is possible. This is why building the right relationships is not simply a social skill, it is a personal growth strategy. Imagine trying to climb a mountain. The journey is challenging enough on its own. Now imagine carrying people on your back who constantly tell you to stop climbing, question your ability, and remind you of every mistake you've ever made. Reaching the summit would become almost impossible. Yet many people experience exactly this in their daily lives. They surround themselves with negativity, criticism, unhealthy competition, and constant discouragement, then wonder why their motivation slowly disappears. Your environment matters because attitudes are contagious. Spend enough time around people who complain about everything, and you'll eventually begin seeing problems everywhere. Spend time around people who are optimistic, disciplined, curious, and growth-oriented, and you'll naturally begin adopting many of those same qualities. Human beings constantly influence one another, whether they realize it or not. This does not mean you should avoid anyone who is struggling. Compassion and kindness are essential qualities. However, there is an important difference between helping someone grow and allowing persistent negativity to shape your own mindset. You can support others without surrendering your own emotional well-being. One of the most valuable relationships you can develop is a mentor. A mentor is someone who has already traveled a path you hope to follow. They offer more than knowledge. They provide perspective. They help you avoid unnecessary mistakes, encourage you during difficult seasons, and challenge you to think beyond your current limitations. Consider the remarkable partnership between Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. Their relationship was built on mutual respect, honest conversation, and a shared commitment to lifelong learning. Munger often challenged Buffett's thinking, encouraging him to make wiser, long-term decisions rather than settling for short-term gains. Buffett has openly acknowledged how profoundly Munger influenced both his investment philosophy and his life. Their partnership demonstrates an important truth. Even one of the world's most successful investors became even better because he surrounded himself with someone who expanded his perspective. You may not have access to world-famous mentors, but wisdom is available everywhere. It can be found in experienced colleagues, thoughtful friends, inspiring teachers, meaningful books, and people whose character reflects the qualities you admire. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to learn if you approach it with humility and curiosity. Just as important as finding mentors is becoming someone others enjoy being around. Strong relationships are built on trust, respect, and genuine interest in others. People naturally gravitate toward those who listen carefully, communicate honestly, and treat others with kindness. Your ability to connect with people will often create opportunities that talent alone cannot. Listening is one of the most underrated skills in personal growth. Many people enter conversations focused only on what they want to say next. Truly effective communicators do the opposite. They seek first to understand before trying to be understood. They ask thoughtful questions. They pay attention not only to words but also to emotions. They make people feel heard. When people feel understood, trust begins to grow. Trust forms the foundation of every meaningful relationship, whether in your family, friendships, career, or business. Without trust, communication becomes difficult. With trust, collaboration becomes natural. Another essential skill is learning to communicate with honesty and respect. Difficult conversations are inevitable. Misunderstandings happen. Disagreements occur. Avoiding these situations rarely solves them. Instead, approach them with calmness, empathy, and clarity. Speak truthfully without becoming hurtful. Listen without becoming defensive. The strongest relationships are not those without conflict, but those where conflict is handled with maturity and mutual respect. Healthy boundaries are equally important. Many people confuse kindness with constantly saying yes. They sacrifice their own time, energy, and priorities because they fear disappointing others. While generosity is admirable, constantly neglecting your own well-being eventually leads to exhaustion and resentment. Setting boundaries is not selfish, it is an act of wisdom. Boundaries allow you to protect your time, preserve your energy, and remain focused on what matters most. They teach others how to treat you while ensuring that your relationships remain healthy rather than draining. Remember that not every relationship is meant to last forever. As you continue growing, some relationships will naturally strengthen while others may fade. This is a normal part of life. Growth often changes your interests, priorities, and values. Instead of clinging to relationships that consistently pull you backward, have the courage to invest more deeply in relationships that encourage your development. At the same time, never underestimate the importance of giving before expecting to receive. Too many people approach relationships asking, "What can this person do for me?" Extraordinary people ask a different question: "How can I add value to this person's life?" They encourage others. They celebrate others' successes without jealousy. They offer help without immediately expecting something in return. Ironically, those who give the most often receive the greatest opportunities because people naturally trust and appreciate them. Gratitude also strengthens relationships in powerful ways. Never assume people know how much you value them. Express appreciation regularly. Thank those who encourage you. Recognize those who have supported your journey. A sincere expression of gratitude can deepen relationships far more than expensive gifts or impressive achievements. It is also worth remembering that your relationship with yourself influences every other relationship in your life. If you constantly criticize yourself, struggle with self-worth, or believe you have little to offer, those beliefs will affect how you connect with others. Building confidence, self-respect, and emotional health allows you to bring your best self into every interaction. As your network of positive relationships grows, you'll notice something remarkable. Your standards begin to rise. You become more disciplined because disciplined people inspire you. You become more optimistic because hopeful people influence your thinking. You become more courageous because courageous people remind you that growth is possible. Excellence has a way of multiplying when it is shared. Take a moment to evaluate the relationships in your life. Ask yourself, who encourages me to become better? Who challenges me with honesty and kindness? Who inspires me through their example? And equally important, ask, whose life am I helping to improve? Personal growth is never meant to be a one-way journey. As you grow stronger, wiser, and more capable, you also become someone who lifts others higher. The extraordinary you is not shaped only by the books you read, the goals you set, or the habits you build. It is also shaped by the conversations you have, the people you trust, and the community you create around yourself. Choose those relationships wisely. Nurture them with honesty, gratitude, and generosity. Encourage others as you continue growing yourself. Because when the right people walk beside you, the journey toward your highest potential becomes not only more achievable, but far more meaningful. In helping one another rise, we often discover the best version of ourselves.